Welcome to the second and last part of my channel flashback. For now at least. If you haven't seen the very first part of the channel flashback, I'll link to that part down below. Now it's time to get into the phase that you are probably more familiar with. As usual, we're going to be discussing the videos I made in the past. We're going to be discussing the more popular videos I made in 2017 and 2018, while also discussing the most notable ones that I want to talk about. This is the year where I shifted from my usual white avatar into the brown avatar that a lot of you guys are more familiar with, which is actually gifted to me by Chris Darker Arts, bless his heart. The transition between the avatars were quite rocky, however. It's not until years later that I finally get into using the avatar in a state that is more familiar for a lot of you people. The appabend classic avatar is about as iconic to this channel as Mickey Mouse for Disney. Ironic how my new avatar, which is gifted to me by my girlfriend 6760, make me to appear younger even though I couldn't sound older if I tried. 2017 began with me talking about an article from the Huffington Post talking about micro-cheating. The article basically shows what it feels like to become a real-life yandere, as in be incredibly possessive and obsessive with your significant other to the point where you have to monitor their social media page if they even decide to follow anyone that looks hot. Actually, as I'm reading the list, both parties are in the wrong. I mean, not mentioning that you have a significant other in conversation with friends seems to be a really scummy move from the boyfriend, especially when you're engaged. Imagine being in a conversation and be like, yeah, this person that I proposed a while ago, she doesn't exist. It's just a figment of my imagination. Me in real life. Ah, yes. You guys might remember that video of an interview from a rapper talking about how dakimakuras are products of white supremacy. That video got blocked worldwide and ineligible for monetization because the channel who owned the video I'm responding to blocked it and being completely unaware of this thing called fair use. But considering that this is a 3-year-old video anyway, I couldn't be bothered to reply. Okay, what is this get some help video? Oh, good lord, it's an article from Crack talking about the things the author learned from being addicted to CP. Little was I aware at the time that being attracted to real-life children has turned into a freaking identity, and how pretty much everyone who says that they are should at the very least be put on the FBI watch list. Contrary to popular belief, I actually do criticize right-wingers as well, specifically boomers. In this video, I'm talking about how Disney hate boys so much, and it's coming from a conservative website. That is how I got the centrist trademark. I did ask the people on Twitter about what my alignment was, and a good portion of my followers say that I'm apparently a true neutral. After the press F to pay respect meme gets ingrained within the internet culture even to this day, it's the press A to pound meme that gets people really riled up. The Daily Dot decides to get outraged by this prospect that people are making memes of Pokemon trainers getting the A treatment, and I think that's how we should classify all sorts of pounding. We got press F to pay respect, press X to doubt, and now we have press A to pound. In fact, I don't know why this meme didn't stick out as much as it should. There was quite a bit of hoopla in regards to BBC Sherlock because the show didn't end in the way that the Fujoshis of the show wanted to end, as in they want an absolutely romantic ending between the two main casts. The show got accusations of queerbaiting, which I find very strange because anyone who watches the show would know that they made it very explicit that Sherlock and Watson aren't having that relationship. This is what happens when you try so hard to appeal into the most rabid part of your fan base. You get people crying and saying that they don't get noticed by BBC Senpai and not have their existence validated, which is less of an issue of the show and more of an issue with them as a person, something that I think a lot of these people really need to be aware of. In retrospect, BBC Sherlock is a show that I like to go back to once in a while. I don't know if this is a hot take, but I'm gonna say it anyway. The show is very stupid, but the reason why I like to go back to it once in a while is because, well, I honestly really enjoyed it. I really like the in-your-face obnoxious Sherlock vision. I genuinely really like the dynamic between the characters, but if you're going for a show centered on a genius douchebag, I prefer House, and you should watch House. House is great. The reason why this version of BBC Sherlock attracts the most rabid of fan base is mostly because they can't control their hormones when they're confronted with the face of the Hobbit and Mr. Benedict Cuddle Trousers, but it's also because the show is the most PG and easily digestible political detective shows among the wider internet fandoms. I mean, it's not exactly The Wire, which you should also watch. Yeah, 2017 is the time where JonTron got quite into a lot of hooplas, and I make videos in regards to JonTron's hooplas. In retrospect, I don't like the videos that I make, mostly because, as I illustrated in my last video, the points that I made in my older videos are not presented as well as I want it to be. The first hoopla is when JonTron got quite a lot of hate thanks to him being on a live stream with Sargon, a political YouTuber who I used to watch a lot, but I don't watch a lot these days because he mostly talks about 100% politics, and I don't care about 100% politics. But going back to JonTron, he got quite a lot of flack at this point in time, right next to PewDiePie as well. And speaking of PewDiePie, one of my most popular videos at the time is responding to MatPat's video in regards to PewDiePie and how he should appeal to the mainstream media by not making edgy jokes. I still stand by with most of what I said in the video, even if the presentation was janky like a lot of the older videos that made at the time. And yes, I will still defend PewDiePie and JonTron to this day, as they both are content creators that make content that I really enjoy and will always get into the sight of Twitter warriors. Yes, another notable video that I make is responding to extra credits. Actually, I respond to a lot of extra credits videos, come to think of it. The first video is how extra credits talk about how all media is political. In retrospect, what they're saying is not entirely wrong, but they are unfortunately missing the point of people's general discussion. When people say that they don't want to have politics in video games, what they mean is they don't want to have politics that are blatantly referencing current real-life politics in the same way that comics do, or at least at the time. But they brush all of that aside to talk about how video games without political elements is bad for the creative video game industry. No one is asking for video games to not have political elements. They just don't want to have current real-life politics being shoved on their faces. Unfortunately, this is a concept that are still not within the grasp of these Twitter warriors, so they love to make posts in an attempt to own the gamers by saying, if you don't want to have politics, then why is Metal Gear Solid the most popular video game series of all time? Take that, gamers! I find it funny that the same people who say that video games are political are quite pissed that video games are political. In retrospect, I'm glad that I make my videos scripted because at least I can retrace what I actually said without actually cringing through the videos. I just couldn't be bothered going through the live action rambling videos, and I made plenty of them, including one where I blatantly confused Zarya with Sombra back in 2016. Yeah, that's precisely why the only reason why I go live action is where I live stream. At least with a live stream, I have an excuse. Do you guys want a very funny article centered on anime? In my video How Tsunderes Destroy Men, we have a very funny article talking about how anime is programming men to be weak and submissive, and the reason why is because they watch animes that are filled with tsundere characters. Although bizarrely, the writer cited Maid Sama, which is not the kind of show that boys watch because it's very obviously a shoujo anime. A trash one with the most Gary Stu love interest ever spawned into the realm of fiction, but a shoujo anime nonetheless. This is another article that I respond to that is not aligned with the SJWs because, shock of all shock, there are people in the anti-SJW side that can be really dumb. Not as bad as the SJWs, but some of them have the same level of stupidity. Yeah, this was at the time where I really got myself into Persona thanks to the 4th game. I mentioned in the video about how I managed to beat the game in 30 hours, and people were extremely baffled in how I managed such a feat. It's very simple, really. I cheated my way through the game because I played the PS2 version of the game and the game is not very easy. But hey, if it weren't for me playing Persona 4 at the time, you wouldn't be able to see all of my most popular videos related to Persona or Atlas games in general, and I wouldn't be able to get to all of the amazing JRPG games that I played, like the Trail Saga. And speaking of cheating, did you guys know that hacking tools could lead you people into cybercrime? Because that's what this new research apparently says. The report is coming from a source that is unbelievably predictable, and that is the National Crime Agency of the UK. Of course it's the UK. The UK is always the cause of all the people being overly sensitive these days. I actually cited a cybercrime committed by a gamer whose best that they can do is to DDoS Minecraft and RuneScape servers. Not exactly the dangerous cyber criminals that we're made to believe. Ah yes, we have another extra credits video. This time it's talking about Persona 5 and how extra credits really misunderstood Persona 5 and also Yakuza 0 as well. I still stand by the points that I made in the video because extra credits really misunderstood what subversion means or the use of tropes in general, but that's probably because they're not really a regular TV tropes user. One of my most popular video of 2017 is a video talking about the biggest projection. This video is talking about a fan artist from Dream Daddy making a gender swap version of the characters, but the gender swap version caused quite a lot of ire from the Twitter warriors. Onips actually followed me once in my old account, but she didn't follow me anymore in my new account after my old one got yeeted, and well, that's fine. This is a video mostly discussing about Twitter hooplas, which are now reserved into my streams these days. I made quite a lot of videos in 2017 centered on Twitter hooplas, the overall trap discourse that is still happening on the internet, no thanks to our anime memes, that's now reserved on my streams, and thanks to me moving Twitter hooplas into my streams instead of my videos, I don't get as much traction as I used to nowadays. Here's another popular video that got quite the traction, Cuphead and game journalists talking about elitism and how gamers should stop skill shaming them. Unfortunately, I cannot find the script for this video, so I don't really know the points that I made. I still have the PowerPoint slides, and I just want to say that as someone who prefers to play video games on easier difficulties because I just like to chill when I play games, I think game journalists should stop conflating playing the game on easy to Dean Takahashi. Or me when I play tic-tac-toe. Another popular video that I made is in regards to a hoopla with Catherine, and as I read through the script, I realized that 2017 me can be very freaking hostile to the people I disagree with, and that's probably the reason why that video is not that popular, and I'd rather not come back to watch it. That's the thing with me in my past. I used to be very spicy with my takes, and despite me having points that I still stand by even to this day, it's the way I deliver it that I have issues with. So 2017 me is basically just 2016 me with a different coat of paint. Now can we move on to 2018? Ah yes, let's talk about one of the most popular videos that I make. That video gained me 500,000 views. Yes, 500,000 views for this video. And guess what? It's a Twitter drama video. You know what? I think I should make more Twitter drama videos if this is the amount of views that I'm getting. My live streams are getting a bit longer than needed anyway, so might as well save some for a dedicated video. That is something that I would have said if it weren't for the content of the video, which in my opinion becomes a very significant reason why I reserve Twitter dramas into streams. So remember in my previous video about how one of the points that I said to Chris Stuckman is that you should keep Twitter dramas on Twitter and not spit all of that into a video? Well, let's just say that I didn't take my advice when I make this video, but I actually have a reason for it. Or at least I try to justify it. Anyway, the video is about that awful Doki Doki Literature Club fan art, which, come to think of it, is a game that I shilled quite a lot back in 2017, and I still maintain to this day that I really love the game and its characters and story, and before you say that the game essentially rip off Totono, Totono didn't come out on Steam for free, it didn't get officially localized until years later, and the characters are not as iconic and memorable as Doki Doki's cast, so I blame Nitro Plus on that. Anyway, I got myself into a hoopla because I make fun of the really terrible artwork through the use of a meme. All I did was make a meme with the buff Natsuki with the upgrade button, and then I have Natsuki with the terrible fan art and a button that says, "Oh frick, go back." I don't know why I liked my own tweet back then. I'm pretty sure it was an accidental press because I never liked my own tweets, but 2018 me was quite smug and arrogant, so maybe that's a move that I deliberately made just so that I can feel better for myself. Then I have people complain to me and say that I shouldn't make fun of that drawing style and I should leave them alone. I went on a defensive and say that I only make a meme. I never tagged the artist, I never harassed the artist, I just made a meme making fun of the art. But that's all I did. I make fun of the art. But people come in here and say that I shouldn't make fun of other people's art. You see, that's the thing that I find very interesting about the Twitter warriors, whom I refer to in the video as Tumblrites because they usually came from Tumblr, but I'm just gonna call them Twitter warriors for now. If I make fun of someone's terrible art, I am a bad person, and I shouldn't do that because I will hurt the artist's feelings. But if the Twitter warriors make fun of someone else's art, it's perfectly fine. In fact, it's a regular thing that they do, as I've shown in my streams. Some even went so far as to fix them. If I'm not allowed to do the things that you do because I'm hurting people's feelings, what do you think you've been doing? That's the general point that I made in the video, and just like my other previous videos, I didn't deliver it in the best way that I could think of. I was quite hostile, aggressive, and arrogant, and unnecessarily so. Remember when I say that I have a reason in making that video? Well, the reason is because people who complain about the meme took it seriously, and that's the reason why I have to jump in and make a dedicated video responding to them. No, Appa. You don't have to. These people are best left to screech on social media. Just because they take it seriously doesn't mean that you have to take it seriously. This is the best example of he who fights monsters should not turn into monsters themselves. This is also an example where I'm really not proud of the views that I gained on that video because, again, I could have made the points that I make in a much better and less hostile way. I was quite smug and arrogant in that video, and doing so leads me into being a really dumb guy. I still agree with most of the points that I say on the video. I just feel like they could have been channeled in a much better medium where I don't feel like I have to keep justifying myself. They could have been presented much better, which again is pretty much the issue that I have with 90% of my old videos. Moving on from that is another extra credits video. Extra credits really can't seem to get away out of my radar. This time it's them talking about video game prices and how they should actually be more than $60. Unfortunately, thanks to the Epic Store exclusivity hoopla, and thanks to the recent news of games going above and beyond $60, as I've shown in my last video, this video is getting more and more depressing to talk about. Ah yes, 2018 is also the year where people are pretty much canceling Channel Awesome. My opinion on Channel Awesome these days is a mere shrug. I just don't care about their channel in general. But I do love how people are telling me that I am basically Nostalgia Critic Light thanks to the way I dress. Come to think of it, I also got called a Velvet Room attendant thanks to the costume I'm wearing. That one is 2, by the way. I actually went on to watch the video instead of just reading the script because I do want to remind myself of the story. And once again, it's the presentation that I have issues with. I went on quite a tangent talking about myself where I should have been talking about Channel Awesome. I'm really not liking the use of my avatars and how it just frequently shifts between one emotion to the other, rather unnaturally. It's the reason why I stick to either still images or gameplay footages and keep my avatar emotion contortions to a minimum. I also don't like the delivery and how I repeat a lot of points and never get straight into it. The delivery in general just could have been better, but that's basically the issues of all of my old videos. Another video that got me popular is a video talking about High Guardian Spice. I still stand by most of the things I said there, and even to this day, we still have no idea where the production went. I'm just gonna mention the fact that the thumbnail of the video makes me look like I'm in a harem. I don't know if this is a beautiful harem or a nightmare harem. Ah yes, this was also at the time where I really got into PC gaming, and The Verge uploaded that notoriously bad PC building video. Everyone makes fun of it, I made fun of it, or at least I talk about the hoopla surrounding it. I talk about it a couple of times actually throughout my channel because The Verge just simply cannot move on from being suck. One of the hooplas that was discussed a lot among the weeb gaming sphere at the time is the censorship that is happening towards games published by Sony. It's one of the primary reasons why a lot of you people out there should not go into Sony for weeb video games because they will do their best in censoring them because their gaming headquarters have moved from Japan into California. I made a lot of videos calling out not just Sony but also Steam as well for censoring visual novels, which is what they've been doing as of recent times as well. And finally, oh man, I hate this video. I hate hate this video. Hate it. I hate every simpering, stupid, audience-insulting moment of it. Unlike my previous videos that I went back to, it's not a video with good points but bad presentation. It's a video with bad points and bad presentation. If you need a reminder, I said that the character Lily from Zombieland Saga is a trap because of the facts that I gathered from the show, or at least the facts that I noticed, because I didn't notice the fact that Lily at no point in the show identifies as a male or is comfortable with the male identity. In fact, it's her female identity that she embraces a lot more, even when she was still alive and even before she was an idol. Something that a lot of people point out after the video got released. The thing is, that was a genuine mistake on my part. If I had known about that, if I had noticed that when I was writing the video, I would have changed my mind. And I should have noticed that. It was right there all along. This is a video that has a take so bad, it even has actual video responses. And rightfully so. Funnily enough, I actually give arguments that support her more as trans rather than a trap, but I am such an arrogant prick at the time that I dismiss pretty much anyone who says that she's trans as wrong. Plain as day, clear as crystal wrong, to quote myself. Here's the thing, old me, if you have to justify a character as a special kind of trap, maybe that character isn't really a trap. Look, if there's any consolation, I did say in the video that we should respect her identity, so if you can forget my arrogance in calling her a trap, at least I don't misgender her throughout the video. At least I don't disrespect her dream and tell her that she's born a male and that she should embrace her male identity. But it was very wrong of me to be such an arrogant prick and dismiss any other people's opinions about it, especially if they have good points that I haven't considered. It's not a video made with malicious intent. It's just a video of me trying to understand the entire thing and try to give my take on it. Unfortunately, it's a very bad take, a lot of which is made out of not just arrogance in my part, but also the genuine mistakes that I made. I couldn't reach the necessary understanding to truly grasp the issue at hand, and I really should have done more to grasp it. I am happily going to apologize for making this video, not because I offended people, although that doesn't really help, but because it's a bad video and a bad take. It took a while for me to address this one video at least, but hey, better late than never. So that's pretty much my 2017 to 2018 channel flashback. I probably won't make a 2019 version because it's way too recent. Maybe in a far distant future I'll consider making one, but for now let's stick with 2018. I'm actually really glad that I make this video and my previous video as well. Not only that, it's a good way for me to look back in the past of what I did to reach this point, but it's also a good way for me to clear up this notion that I make bad takes in the past or I make spicy takes in the past. For the most part, the points that I made in the past are the points that I would have made today. I still agree with me saying that Sony censorship is bad. I still agree with me saying that if you can't take criticism on the internet, then you shouldn't be on the internet. I still agree that extra credits is not good in general. It's just how I present those points that I find very contentious. The times where I did make a bad take, at least it's not made out of malice. At least it's an attempt to understand an issue. It was done in quite an arrogant fashion and I badly misunderstood it, but it was an attempt. The biggest problem that I have with 2017 to 2018 me is that I always center a lot of discussions on myself, whereas people in general don't really care about me. They care more about the content at hand and if I present the content in a way that is informative to them. But my primary goal when I make videos is to entertain, mostly to entertain myself because I did have fun making these videos even if they're badly presented. Informing the audiences is more of a secondary goal, and I think that direction is really not so good for me. I should have been a lot more informative and focus on the information and be less biased when dealing with the issues. I shouldn't try to keep on justifying myself in such a smug and arrogant way. So thank you all for watching this channel all the way up to this point. Doesn't matter if you joined me back in 2015 or even in recent times, I am absolutely blessed to have wonderful fans that still stick with me even even through all of the hooplas, the bad takes, the bad presentations, and all of that. So with those out of the way, let's get back to my normal videos. I haven't been posting them regularly because the hooplas are boring to make videos of, but when the time comes, I'll be there. And of course, the regular streams now at Thursday 6 PM Eastern Time.